It's Mailbag Monday here on CHGO Blackhawks. Questions about Spencer Knight's upcoming free agent season, the potential leadership group of the Blackhawks, and who might represent Chicago and Canada and USA and all those countries at the World Junior Championships. Join us next on CHGO Blackhawks. Hello, welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Hope you're having a great Monday on this beautiful day in Chicago. I'm Jay Zawaski. That's Mario Tirabassi. Katie Duffy's over there. You can't see her, but you can hear her. Right?
I mean, I guess you can.
There she is. See?
My hands are full.
The microphone works now.
Katie has this way of, whenever she counts us down for the show, she says, "Go, guys." And it is the most calming voice. I don't know what it is about it, Katie, when you do that, but it's just like, it's like it eases me right before the show starts.
I appreciate that. That
it's
makes
just
me
really
happy.
mellow and relaxed. You're not like frantically pointing.
It's not as
nice.
high-paced and frantic of a show as it is during the regular season, where we're just at the top of our game 24/7.
Or like an off-season Bear show. 7-on-7s were a nightmare. 7 hours on that one pass.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Make us 15 minutes late to our watch-along last night.
That's all right. We only missed half of one walk-in.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks for being with us, everybody. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you. We love you too. Good choice, not looking at us, just listening to us. Make sure you're following or subscribed on your favorite app, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's Mailbag Monday, so what we do then is read questions from the mailbag, prioritizing those from our Diehards Only Discord. If you'd like access, become a diehard, allchgo.com/join. Katie, do the honors. Let's get to our first mailbag question of the day. And this one comes from Ryan McGregor. Ryan says, assuming Renzel and Levshunov make the team out of camp, what would you like the Hawks' D pairings to look like, and who would you have running Power Play 1 and Power Play 2?
So the power play question is actually really interesting when you're looking at the young guys that they have, because really the only two guys that you're penciling in for sure in the NHL are Alex Vlasic and Connor Murphy.
Yeah.
Right? And those spots, the rest of the spots are up for grabs from those young guys. But neither one of those guys are power play 1 guys. Alex Vlasic, you could make the case, could be a power play 2 option, but I wouldn't put him on the top power play. So you're going to have one of those young guys have to be that defenseman on the top power play and maybe on both of them, the first and the second unit. So I think if you have Renzel in the NHL, he's on your power play, one of them.
Green.
Maybe the same for Levshunov. Maybe Levshunov, maybe if you did a second unit where it's like Levshunov and Vlasic, a 2 defenseman
I kind of like
play.
that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But that's becoming less and less common in the NHL. It's more of the 4-and-1s setup. But to answer the question, I'm going to assume both those guys are in.
Me too.
Of the 4 non-Vlasic Murphy spots, I think Levshunov and Renzel, they're going to have 2 of them. So the other 3-4 guys you talk about, they're going to have to figure out the other 2 spots. Man, it might be getting ahead of our skis, but I think the top pair might be Vlasic Renzel to start the year.
It could be. I also don't mind if we're talking about a 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Vlasic with Levshunov, because I think he can keep him a little bit safer. Because I think he's going to be a little more risky than Renzel, and it's fine. They're just different kind of defensemen. So we know that Artem Levshunov is going to be a guy who a handful of times a year there's going to be a low light of him trying to do something offensively, failing, and ending up with a chance or a goal the other way. I think that's what you sacrifice and the things you're gaining from Levshunov. So putting him at least early in his career with a bit of a security blanket in Vlasic, I wouldn't mind. The other thing we need to discuss too is like Kevin Korchinski's got a decent shot at making this team, and I think we all kind of like, well, you know, he didn't do much last year, and it wouldn't surprise me if he plays 82 games for the Hawks this season too. So if he's part of things too, he's going to get power play time as well. So they've got a lot of possibilities. But if we're just going with those two, who I do feel are the most likely to begin on day one, I would say yes. I like Renzel with probably Bedard on the other point for your top unit. And then you could have Vlasic and Levshunov together, because Levshunov, as we've seen, even in that short stint of games that he played, he is kind of going to go everywhere, kind of along the boards, behind the net. That's kind of how he plays. So I'm not so worried about the forward or defenseman label. It's more about how they fit in that role, and I think Levshunov fits pretty well in that role. So
yeah, and I think if you do have Korchinski on the NHL roster, that gives you a third offensive power play option. But I think when you look at the, how you want to match guys up, you're gonna. I don't know. It's gonna be fascinating how it shapes up in camp, because if you put Korchinski and you're likely putting him with Murphy, right, to do the kind of the same thing you're talking about with Levshunov and Vlasic, then you're down to Kaiser, Del Mastro, Allen, and Renzel. Like if you go Vlasic, top or here. I'll do camera specific. If you go Vlasic and Levshunov as your top pair, left and right, then you go Korchinski left, Murphy, either your second or your third pair, whatever you want to do. But then you got on the right, you'll have Renzel probably as your third D if you want to do it that way. But then on the left, you got to figure out one of Kaiser, Allen, Del Mastro, Crevier. I mean, all four of those guys have a stake to the NHL. It's just like, how do they fit in? Yeah,
I like Kaiser there, but again, I think it all depends too on, like, Korchinski to me is a big wild card here, because I think if he makes a team, we also don't know why Kaiser, if Wyatt Kaiser gets a one-way deal, that's also throws a wrench into things a little bit too.
Yeah, I think one-way, two-way. I'm not as worried about that with him. It's just going to be what the term and what the money looks like. If it's like a 1 year deal, or even a 2 year deal, but it's not a big AAV number, then it seems like less of an investment. But if you get a number out there in the 3 million, 3.5, 4, whatever it ends up being, like that's an investment, and that's a guy that you're gonna be like, yeah, for sure, they see him in the NHL. You're not giving that guy you're not giving the guy that kind of money to be like, oh, now go and prove it. Like that's an investment thing. So seeing the term will actually be more indicative of where I think he probably starts, at least in training camp. But there's a lot of what ifs with the group.
That's right.
And Korchinski's part of it too. But if he makes it, then you're looking at it, and defensively, it's like, okay, if you have Kaiser in there too, let's say. Kaiser's a really good player two ways, but he is also the smallest of the group. And then do you sacrifice that? And I know you have Renzel is going to be a little bit bigger, more physically mature this year. Same with Levshunov, same with Korchinski, but they're not the size of a Del Mastro or a Crevier, or even Allen is more of a physical guy than I'd say those guys are. So it's just like, how do you want to balance out the defensive group? It's interesting. I like having this problem. There's like 2 or 3 spots open and 5 guys that can take them.
Yeah,
and all 5 of them, you'd be like, yeah, makes sense.
When we made a couple weeks ago, we did like our bold predictions for the season thing, and mine was that one of the players that is going to be in the opening night lineup isn't on the roster yet. Meaning, I think there's going to be more moves made this offseason. Maybe it's just one, maybe it's several, but I think once they determine, maybe it happens early in the year. They see how training camp shakes out. They see how the preseason goes, and they say, all right, well, these are our 7 defensemen. Do they want at the NHL level? Here's where these guys have grown in the offseason. Maybe someone becomes expendable. Maybe someone becomes movable, and that's like what we keep whenever we do these hypotheticals, Kevin Korchinski's name always comes up, but it's almost because you're like most value, potential lack of fit for what they have right now. I don't know. I think something kind of has to give.
Yeah, I wonder if they get through training camp and then it's like that week before the season starts. There always seems to be a few some moves that happen that week before when, before teams have to finalize their rosters and things. There always seems to be one or two moves where you're like, oh, okay, there's a swap or something like that. I wonder if they let most of training camp play out and the preseason kind of play out and then see if that might be an option. Or, there is no harm in keeping the guys you have in the organization and continue. It's not to say that training camp is the end-all, be-all for the next 82 games after it.
Right.
There's, if Korchinski or Del Mastro or Allen, any of those guys go down to Rockford, that is not a death sentence for their development.
No.
That's, just because there are going to be players on the Blackhawks this season that don't make the roster out of camp that eventually, whether it's injury or through, quality of play, find their way up and find their way, around the organization. So they could do something like that where they make some sort of move, but there is also no harm in keeping your guys. And if your top four in Rockford is, Korchinski and Allen and, you throw in Tage Harding in the mix, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
You're fine with that.
I had a comment from Ralph J. just sort of saying, are we overrating Rinzel? Are we there it is. I really don't understand the overpraise Rinzel is getting. Is this a new shiny toy? No, I think this is based on the evidence of what we saw from his last year in college to the evidence we saw in his 9 games in Chicago. And
it is a small sample size at the NHL
5
level.
assists in 9 games.
But yeah, you get excited for it.
He's
for
also
sure.
21. He's not 18, 19 like a lot of these young prospects are. So he's more physically mature, mentally mature than these guys. And if you listen to what Frank Saravalli says, who clearly has, someone in the organization giving him info, he's paid by the organization. He pretty much says that Rinzel's never going to play in the American Hockey League. He's straight college to the NHL, and that's it.
Could be, yeah.
So that seems like the most likely scenario. So he almost feels like a Vlasic, maybe a little more NHL ready than Vlasic was right away.
He's ahead of the game offensively.
Yeah, definitely.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's maybe it's not going to go as great next year, but I don't feel hesitant putting Rinzel on the top pair of what is going to be one of the worst 5 teams in hockey next year again.
Sure.
Right? If I'm trying to win the Stanley Cup this year, is Sam Rinzel my number 1 right defenseman? No. But in the state they're in right now, I'm very happy with him in the top 4. Same with Levshinov, even Korchinski. Get these guys meaningful minutes against quality competition when games still count.
Yeah.
And it's good for their development. So
And if he does play in Rockford, it's not the end of the world.
Right. Exactly.
That is a team that is there to develop. It's not a stowaway team anymore.
And Curtis says we almost have enough NHL caliber defensemen to fill 2 teams. That's the thing. But now what we have to figure out is, yes, you have a lot of bodies, and you like a lot of them. You just don't know exactly what they're going to be when they're fully realized in the NHL. Does Wyatt Kaiser have a much higher ceiling than what he already is? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Korchinski, you think so.
You hope so.
But there hasn't been this monumental growth from him in Rockford. Not that he hasn't grown, but I think everyone thought, okay, a year in Rockford and he's going to be ready, undeniable. And I don't know if we're there with him yet. Things look fine with Allen. Things look good with Del Mastro. We just don't know how good they're going to be when it's all said and done. So we'll see. I mean, that's why I think next year is going to be a lot of fun to watch from a fan perspective, because we're going to get a lot of these questions answered, because a lot of these higher prospects have some years under their belt now, either in college or in the minors, even at the NHL level. So we'll see exactly what they can turn out to be. All right, we're going to hit the break zone for the first time. If you've not done it already, please hit that like button for us and be sure to subscribe while you're hanging over that like button. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks.
What is Sunnyside? Well, besides the name of the daycare in Toy Story 3, Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. It's much different.
They've been purchased.
It's your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside is everything you need to elevate your summer. It's your one-stop shop for all of your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. You can stop into one of their locations all over Illinois, whether it's in the city like in Wrigleyville or River North, or out to the suburbs like in Champaign, South Beloit, and so many other places. We know you'll love the brands that they have, including Cresco and FloraCal, incredible quality and consistent products. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Use the code CHGO at checkout. That's CHGO at checkout to qualify. Only for those 21 or older or Illinois medical card holders.
And it's not super hot today, but you know it's coming. You know it's going to happen again. It is the perfect time to get your AC tuned up right now, and Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric will help you do it. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Whether you're looking for installation, maintenance, or repair, Four Seasons expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and Four Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, and holidays, because that is inevitably when things break. So schedule your Four Seasons AC tune-up today. Save $50 and enjoy a 1-year no-breakdown guarantee. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Get your house cooled off before it gets hot again here in this Chicago summer. Seasons Taking the Temp is presented by your trusted local experts at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. And I feel like the fan base has cooled off significantly since the scourge on the franchise of Derek King has been removed. Derek King today, I'm joking, of course, but talking about most of you don't hate Derek King, but some of you, weird. Derek King, the new coach of the Hershey Bears of the American Hockey League.
Congratulations to him.
A good man.
Yeah,
thorough.
friend of the show.
Friend of everyone.
Yes, I hope the shrimp is better in Hershey, Pennsylvania, than it was when he was here and when he was in Rockford at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for him. He's a guy that has kind of cut his teeth at the AHL level and got some NHL coaching experience as well. Goes to one of the most historically successful AHL clubs that there ever has been. A team that kind of operates similarly to what the Chicago Wolves try and do, where they want to be competitive at the AHL level, and the Capitals don't have the most robust youth in their prospect system, but they definitely pay attention to making sure that Hershey is a competitive team. So congrats to former Ice Hogs and Blackhawks coach Derek King.
Yes, congratulations to a good man. That is a Taking the Temp presented by our friends at Four Seasons Heating, Cooling, Air Conditioning, etc., etc. All right.
Plumbing, electric.
If you need it for your house, Four Seasons has it.
Yeah, that's true.
Do it. All right, back to the mailbag we go. This from KDC Golf Pro.
Golf Pro.
All right.
Hey,
Says,
you want to golf in my group August 22nd?
There you go.
I need one.
I thought, is our group set?
Your group is set.
I thought it was 4 of us.
You have your and your 3 All-Stars are in.
I have 2 All-Stars.
Who dropped out?
I think our female All-Star never signed up.
Well, that causes a problem because I have one already.
We'll figure it out.
All right,
we'll find
figure
an
it
All-Star.
out. Yeah.
Anyway, KDC Golf Pro says, what are the realistic expectations for Spencer Knight? Shouldn't him in the goal as our number one help propel us to better results, a.k.a. wins? Yes, theoretically. I mean, if he plays his 50 to 60 starts, which might be high, but who knows?
60 would feel
be
high, but if he plays up to the level that I think a lot of people hope and expect, and he expects of himself, like, he's going to be a guy that I think Jeff Blashill is just going to continuously go to if he gives him the reason. He's young. He has expressed the desire to have that kind of workload, and that's the kind of workload that those elite level number one, no doubt, goaltenders get, because it's not as often that you have your starters go 60+ games. A lot of teams now in recent years have relied more on a 1A 1B kind of setup, and you can be successful having a guy like Connor Hellebuck start 65+ games. You could also be successful like the Vegas Golden Knights were, where their Stanley Cup playoff run they had 5 different goalies. Like there's no specific science to it, but if he's up to par for what he should be at this point. He's had a number of years playing professionally, both at AHL and NHL level. He's been a backup mostly at the NHL level. Got to be a starter once he got here. If he's up to league average, that's an upgrade. That 905, 907 save percentage right around there. If he's doing that on a consistent basis and steals you a game or two here, I think that's going to be. I think that can be the expectation for him because of the pedigree he's had, the time he's had to develop, and kind of where his trajectory is going. The defense in front of him is going to be a factor for it, though.
Yeah, and there is, as much as we're excited about these young guys, there's also some inexperience and there'll be some mistakes made. So looking at Spencer Knight last year, between Chicago and Florida, 38 games played, his goals saved above expected was 6.9.
Nice.
Arvid Soderblom, on the other hand, was 1.0.
Still good.
But 36 games for Soderblom, 38 for Knight. Yeah. So similar games, similar goals against, all those sort of things. But Knight was better in every category here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if he provides that kind of play with starter numbers, they are going to be better. Because I do think, even though Arvid was better last year, I still think he is what you would consider an above-average backup. I think he's
an NHL backup.
Yes, yeah. A good one, a reliable one, and one you're not afraid to go to every third or fourth game.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, if he reverts back to the Arvid that he was the year before, then I think that's when you look at, okay, is there anything really holding back Drew Commesso at this point? If Arvid Soderblom doesn't replicate what he did last year, as far as in the improvement of where he went, then I think you start having that conversation. But yeah, I think it's going to take an above expectation effort from Arvid Soderblom to take the starter share away from Spencer Knight.
Oh yeah, no, if that happens, if Soderblom somehow becomes the starter at some point next year, that would be a red flag for me about Spencer Knight. I think I just think the talent, the pedigree is so much bigger, is so much better for Knight. Mm-hmm. And as someone in the chat mentioned, looking forward to seeing him get a full season of Jimmy Waite.
Yes,
coaching him, because one of the best goalie coaches in the game. Goaltending has very rarely been a problem for the Hawks with Jimmy Waite here.
No, I mean
he gets the most out of what he's got.
Yeah, he turned Corey Crawford into what he was. You get a guy like Scott Darling to go through the organization and had some NHL time. You get guys like Colin Delia through the organization and played in some NHL games. Kevin Lankinen was another guy that under the Blackhawks watch got to the NHL and was able to establish himself and have an extension of his career here and in the league. So having a guy and none of those guys have the pedigree and the ability and everything that Spencer Knight brings to the table. So now, honestly, since Crawford has been gone, Knight feels like the best goaltender that they've really had in the organization.
Since Crawford.
That's close to that level. I know once they drafted Commesso and the way that he progressed through college and the AHL, up until Spencer Knight showed up, you'd say, well, Commesso seems like the most talented guy since they've had Corey Crawford as far as a developmental path.
Right.
But now you bring in Knight, who's gone through that developmental path for the most part. He's still going to have some growth there, but has had more pro time, more NHL time than anybody else. Yeah, I mean, I'd put Knight into that category now that since Crawford's been gone, this is the best guy that they've had as a number one option.
So I talked about goals saved above average, and again, last year Spencer Knight had a 6.9 goals saved above average.
Nice.
But that's in 38 games. If you do it per 60, so goals saved above average per 60 minutes, he's .188. That is tied with Jake Ottinger. That is ahead of Sergei Bobrovsky, Jordan Binnington, Jacob Markstrom, Thatcher Demko. Like he is with or above some of the best goalies in hockey in terms of goals saved as above expected per 60.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, it's with the Hawks. Like his numbers with the Hawks on paper don't look great at 318 goals against and 896 save percentage. But that's with the perspective of the Hawks D in front of him. Mostly after the deadline, they're getting scored on a little bit more. And I will say there were a couple games where Spencer Knight was not great, but for the most part, he was keeping them in games they had no business being in.
Yeah. I mean, if you on a per game basis are saving almost 2 goals off the board, like that is impressive. But then when you kind of zoom out, you're like, okay, but they lost that game 5-2, and he made 38 shots, or he made 38 saves on 43 shots. Like it's just, it gets, there's a lot of give and take with goaltender numbers. But I think the way that he played, you believed that he was going to keep you in those games and make those saves that make you believe like, oh yeah, like that's a special talent that he has.
And we've had a bunch of players. Vlasic has said it. Foligno has said it. Others have said it. Like when you trust the goalie behind you to do what he's supposed to do, it gives you more confidence to play a little more free, a little more. Maybe you're not afraid to take a risk. You're not being so tentative because I feel like last year you had a lot of. Not last year, the season before, the team did not trust either goalie.
Yeah.
And when Soderblom was in, you could just chalk up a loss. It was a given. He was so bad 2 years ago. Last year that changed with him. I think Mrazek was kind of up and down too, but you felt for the most part he was going to give you what he needed to give you. With a guy like Knight, though, I think you're going to have a lot more confidence to kind of
in 2 seasons
play
ago,
open and free.
2 seasons ago, you had Peter Mrazek having a really good season. I think he had like a 908 or something like that. Like with that Hawks team, he was playing really good, and you saw the difference in when Mrazek started and when Soderblom started. The team visibly looked different the way that they played in those games. So yeah, I mean, it goes a long way when you have a goal you trust. You play a little. You're not as tight. You're not as tense.
Yeah. All right, we got a quick one we can get to here before we hit the break zone.
Let's see what we got. Sure. Be quick.
Yeah, sure. Warren Bedard says, I understand this is incredibly far away, but when the Penguins win the lottery for McKenna, who else is in that top echelon of players that would intrigue you all for the Hawks if they pick in the top 5 again?
All right, so it's August 4th, and we're talking about the 2026 NHL Draft. I think we can mark it. That's the first time that we're talking about the
I believe so.
Upcoming draft. That is 10 months away. Can't wait. So besides McKenna, I think the number 2 guy in this draft class for 2026 right now, I think by most accounts, is Keaton Veroff. Right-handed defenseman, going to be playing in the NCAA this year. We're already talking about the Blackhawks have too many defensemen to fit into their NHL roster right now. But on the flip side of that, point is, well, besides those guys, Crevier, Allen, Del Mastro, Kaiser, Korchinski, Levshov, Frenzel, their depth defensively in the organization is Tage Harding, Ty Henry, and Yanni Peltonen. Like, late round picks, like guys that are long shots.
Maybe not a single NHL game.
Yeah, long shots to even play in the NHL. So you might say, well, you might need to keep restocking those defensemen. I just don't think that people, if you miss out on Gavin McKenna, are going to be thrilled with a defenseman, even though Keaton Veroff is a guy that you should be excited about. There's Ivar Stenberg from Sweden. I think pretty consensus he's the number 2 forward in the group behind McKenna. That's a guy that I think if you're not getting McKenna, that a lot of people are going to be excited about. Looks like someone that, we keep talking about wanting to find someone to pair with Conor Bard. You do have Frank Nazar. You do now have Anton Frondell. If Stenberg is your guy, I think you're happy with that as well.
Get the Swedes. All right, one more break zone. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Do us a favor. Please hit that like button. Not enough likes being hit. Please hit that like button for us. We'll be back in 2 minutes on CHGO Blackhawks.
Looking to buy, sell, trade, or rip open packs of cards? Well, check out our friends at Arena Club. They're changing the hobby with their transparent slab packs and no-fee auctions. Arena Club makes it easy to collect the cards you love. You can get authentic graded cards instantly with Arena Club, and then you decide. You can hold on to them, sell them, or have them shipped directly to you, or you can also take an instant cash offer based on market value. Those slab packs are so cool. You can rip open a pack for as low as $25 and hit on a card that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. And Arena Club offers full transparency, showing every card in the pack with the likelihood of pulling each one, so you know exactly what's available before you buy. And from your digital showroom, you can trade, sell, put up for auction, or retrieve a physical card from Arena Club. The packs are digital, but the cards are real. Right now, you can get 20% off of your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO and using the code CHGO.
And just like your favorite team needs a home ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and you can get it with Empire Today. Empire Today has flooring experts. All they do is flooring 24/7. They live it. They breathe it. It is their lives. That's why Empire Today is your best bet for a new floor. We've been to those big box stores where Toilet Plunger Joe is working in flooring on a Tuesday, and you need flooring, and it's Toilet Plunger Joe's day, and you come out with the flooring you don't need. Empire Today, you're going to get what you need. They bring the showroom to you, so you don't have to guess. That's what you want. They're the experts. Trust them. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. CHGO listeners, you can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code CHGO. Yeah, that's pretty good. You heard me right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. Again, empiretoday.com/CHGO. All right, back to the mailbag we go. But first, do us a favor, hit that like button. And I want to give you a little programming note for Tuesday. We will talk to Jamie Faulkner on the show tomorrow. We should have some info on some of the promotions coming up for the Centennial season, so you can all yell at her on the chat for not signing a free agent and for trading Alex DeBrincat.
Yes.
All right. 2 o'clock tomorrow, Jamie Faulkner, right here in these chairs.
Blackhawks president of business ops, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the formal title.
Gooseman.
Gooseman.
Of all the mascots in the league, who do you think would win a Royal Rumble?
This is an easy answer. Gritty.
Gritty seems to be the correct answer.
Gritty.
Philly tough, hashtag.
I mean, pull out all the tricks of the trade that Gritty can. You know, they are down to lie, cheat, and steal their way to a victory, and not afraid to get naked at the Winter Classic and cause all types of mischief.
In fairness,
you never can trust those eyes, whichever way they're looking.
I got to give a shout out though to Bowie, the Kraken mascot, who was literally attacked by a bear and did not freak out.
Faced a bear and lives to tell the tale.
Yeah, that was. I don't know if you haven't seen that. They were filming a commercial for the Kraken, and Bowie, the mascot, was in a body of water, a lake
up in Alaska, I think.
Yeah, and right behind them, it was a bear charging full speed through the water at Bowie. And very calmly, Bowie just kind of turned around, put his hands up, his or her hands up, I don't want to assume. And the bear backed off.
Yeah, it was...
so respect on that front.
It was a pretty crazy video. So much so, and this is how the modern era has warped my brain. I saw that video, and I was just like, are they doing an AI thing? The Kraken aren't doing an AI thing, are they? And it's real. It's a real video. It's been verified and everything. But I was just like, I was like, that bear kind of looks a little, I don't know, is that water splashing like it normally would? But it's a real video.
It's a little scary that it's gotten that good that fast, the AI videos. But there is a certain look to AI where you're like, you can kind of tell. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the jump it's made in a year, it's kind of scary how good it's going to get.
Yeah. Yikes. Pretty soon you'll be watching AI podcasts just like this one. What?
How about those idiots behind the bench?
Conor Bard is a bust.
Yes.
That's how you know it's AI.
That's right.
No normal human would say that.
Yes. All right. Back to the mailbag. Enough silliness. G-Bubs
G-Bubs.
says our number one picks seem to be developing well, assuming, say, 9 or 10 of them hit, then including a stud forward from the top 5 next year, in addition to 3 or 4 lower quality picks later hitting. Will we really need a Hosa signing? Those lines will be balanced with speed, size, and playmakers. If everything goes perfectly, yes, we do not need a Hosa type signing.
14 of their draft picks to hit and become NHL players. You don't need to sign anybody.
How many number one centers can you have, my friend?
I agree.
No, but I mean, I think
good.
to the point
Is
G-Bubs,
if a lot of these players' development paths pan out the way that you hope and the team expects, I mean, then you're talking about like you have homegrown almost your entire NHL roster, which is almost like impossible.
Pretty rare. Yeah, it's pretty rare. But you could ask yourself, like, could the Hawks have won a cup without Marian Hosa? Maybe.
Probably
not 3, but
we had that conversation a couple of times already this summer. We're running out of things to talk about. But yeah, I mean, if they had stuck with Martin Havlat instead of going with Marian Hosa, can that run still happen? Maybe to some degree. But there are those types of players that put you into that echelon in the NHL of just that roster makeup is almost untouchable. But I mean, to bank that 10 of your, first 3 round draft picks over a 4 or 5 year span are all going to hit and become NHL players, like, you can't bank on that. It's a lovely outcome if it does happen, but
and if they are all NHL players, they're also not going to completely maximize. I think every team in the Florida Panthers of the last 2 years, if they could add Marian Hosa in his prime, they would find a spot to add Marian Hosa in his prime. Like, it's so rare to have a completely homegrown team. Mm-hmm. But again, this is why Davidson has been stockpiling draft picks, and now you're starting to see it. If in his Giggity says we'll be lucky if 6 or 7 of them hit. Even if that's the case, if 6 or 7 hit of 13 forwards and 7 defensemen, that's a really good start.
Of Davidson's draft picks, let's name 7. Bedard, Nazar.
Yep.
Rinzel.
Yep. Levshinov. Those are the ones I think you're pretty certain are going to be good NHL players.
Let's throw in Korchinski.
Sure.
Boisvert.
Jury's out on Korchinski.
Oliver Moore.
Boisvert, we're not sure. Moore, we're not sure.
That's 7 right there.
That's 7 right there.
Mostly first rounders.
Yeah.
I think. All first rounders.
And I think you feel good about all of them having some sort of NHL career.
Right.
To, like, how good will Oliver Moore be? We don't know. How good will Sasha Boisvert be? We don't know yet. But I think the arrow is pointing towards all those guys having NHL time. We did not mention Anton Frondel yet either.
Frondel.
So that
Nick Lardis.
Yeah, right.
Savoie,
so you feel. I think you feel that if we're being conservative, 5 of them should be all-star level, maybe not annual all-stars, but all-star caliber players.
I mean, you already got
Bedard, Nazar, Frondel, Levshinov, Rinzel.
Yeah, you got 5 of them.
That's 5.
If they hit, you're talking about, like, that's a solid core that you're building.
Yep.
So I mean, things look good.
And whoever they draft this year.
Yeah.
This coming year.
Gavin McKenna, Keaton Veroff, Stenberg, Robeck, all those guys.
Robeck.
Get them all.
Good shirts. Yeah. That's a free one. Come back, Robeck. All right, let's get another one in here, Katie, before we we don't have any more breaks. So let's just stretch the legs a little bit. James J. Might be from me. Says, do you think Eddie Oldchek would ever come back to provide color to the Blackhawks broadcast at the end of his Kraken contract?
I don't think so.
It doesn't feel that way.
No. The way that it ended, the setup that him and his son have right now in Seattle seems like a thing that would be hard to pass up to just go back to your old stomping grounds. No, I don't think that that's going to be the direction they go. And you know what? Rick Ball and Darren Pang have been good together. They're going to grow as they spend. I know they already had a relationship together.
Good chemistry, though.
Good
for
chemistry.
First year.
It'll start to grow. And now it's, theoretically easier for more people to be able to watch the team than it was last year. So I think the sentiment around those guys will, it'll grow.
Yeah, I am nothing against Eddie, but I'm happy with the current team. I think they're doing fine. The chemistry's there. So, and I do think there was some, on both sides, some saltiness left over with the way that went down. And whoever side you want to believe, there's probably truth from both sides a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that ship has sailed, at least if it's this current regime leading the Blackhawks. So
we'll ask Jamie tomorrow.
Sure. Sure.
That'll be the first thing we ask.
And cup holders.
You going to bring back Eddie Oldchek?
Hey, we're going to bring that back?
I'll start off.
Brock Lesnar coming back?
Great. Yeah.
Things no one wanted for 1,000,
That's
Alex.
the thing.
Okay. Keep them going, Katie. Ted808
This is long.
says, we've been wanting Kyle Davidson to get Bedard some legit top 6 help. Lots of pundits have been critical of the Hawks for not doing this. Even last year, word was that Davidson tried to add Jake Gensel but failed to do so. But I'm wondering if this is not just a matter of failing to find a guy. Is it possible that the Blackhawks are deliberately setting up Bedard to be the guy, the go-to alpha, who doesn't rely on anyone else to generate offense? If that's what they're doing, they should all be fired.
Yeah. I know that we have talked about it a lot of, the rebuild, one of the tipping points, if not the biggest of it, is what Conor Bard becomes. But you cannot operate that Conor Bard is the end-all, be-all, and has to become the guy who can do it all on his own, no help needed, put everything on his shoulders, and he can't be that guy. Almost no one is that guy in the NHL. They tried that with McDavid for a while.
Doesn't work.
And it doesn't work. So no, I don't think that is necessarily the plan with Bedard. I think it's going to be better for him to have more people to spread out that, that weight on his shoulders. And I think we're going to see that a little bit this season with the way that, Nazar has developed, with the amount of young guys that are going to be coming in and kind of taking up more roles with the team and more prominent roles too. Even off the ice, media attention from us is going to be spread out more from Bedard to this growing, younger nucleus of the Blackhawks, and I think that'll be a good thing for him.
I don't think that they're necessarily thinking that Bedard can't be the best player on the team.
No.
But to just say, we're going to clear the decks and leave it all open for Connor, that puts him in a bad spot. You've got to have complementary players to help you. I mean, we talked about it last week. We were talking about Tony Amonte, and it's I love Tony Amonte, but he is not the player he is without Alexei Zhamnov. Mm-hmm. Those two had chemistry. Was he the better player? Yes, but having a guy like Zhamnov centering him made him a better player too. Yeah. And before that, Roenick and et cetera, et cetera. Everybody needs that complementary player.
Even Wayne Gretzky had Mark Messier and Yari Curry and Paul Coffey on all those teams. Even the best player ever needs elite help. Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin are tied together forever.
Yeah.
Those types of players still need other people to lean on from time to time. It was mentioned in the chat. Nick Olchek is actually with Utah now.
Yeah,
forgot about that.
Yep.
But the point still stands.
Yes. Tim says the media have been horrible to Bedard. I can't stand this Celebrini good guy, Bedard bad guy crap. I don't know if it's the media. I think it's more vocal fans on social media who don't like the Blackhawks for myriad reasons. You could probably figure out most of them. They feel that the draft was rigged in the Hawks' favor to get Conor Bard. I think a lot of people, when that happened, were like, of course he's going to Chicago. Just as we're joking about Gavin McKenna going to Pittsburgh, a lot of people joking the same way about Bedard. So when it happened, it's like, oh, come on.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of that built up around it. And anytime someone's hyped, there's a certain percentage of people that want to see that hyped person fail. Look no further than LeBron James, who at worst is the fourth best player in NBA history, right? Mm-hmm. And people still hate the guy and still rag on the guy. It's like, he was everything he projected to be, but people hated the hype before they even knew the player. And I think you have that a little bit with Bedard, too.
I feel like we're getting a little bit of that with Caleb Williams, too.
Oh, I saw a post today that it said, I think it was maybe it was SB Nation or somebody said, Caleb Williams had the worst Sunday of anyone in the league yesterday. It's like they had family day.
You mean Sunday, August 3rd?
Right, there weren't any games. He had a bad practice.
Yeah.
But that they know too that ragging on Caleb Williams because again, hyped and a different kind of a dude. Oh my God, he paints his nails. Oh my God, he cried. Oh my God, what a sissy, whatever. You're getting the same stuff with Bedard because of the hype. So people are just cannot wait to see him fail. And anytime that evidence presents itself that player is a failure, be it Williams, Bedard, James, whoever it might be, you're going to see it amplified times 1,000.
Well, and then too, when you have those same people that like want to see the failure of the people who are hyped, they then glob onto who's the opposite side of that. Who's their their counterpoint. With Bedard, it's Celebrini. Oh, so then we're all going to praise Celebrini. Crosby and Ovechkin, they had their camps too.
Yeah.
Early on in their careers, I couldn't stand Sidney Crosby, and I loved Alex Ovechkin. Now I appreciate what both of them have done in their fantastic careers.
I think a part of the Crosby hate locally, though, was also Taves versus Crosby, which was a conversation a lot because they were very similar players in their primes, and both guys had an argument at that time to be like the best all-around player in the game. So I think Hawks fans kind of dug in. You also had kind of dynasties running parallel to each other with the Hawks and Penguins, so that was part of it, whereas the Caps didn't really feel like necessarily in the Hawks way at all at that time.
Well, they only got past the Penguins once in the playoffs during that time. So, I mean, man, those are two matchups that I would have loved to have seen in that 2010s, early 2010s range. Is Hawks and Penguins have a series or Hawks and Capitals have a series. That would have been so much fun.
That would have been awesome.
But it worked out the way it did.
Yep.
3 cups in 6 years.
All right, let's get another one in here, Katie.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
This from D. Schnell 13. Death row meal. Do any Chicago staples make the cut?
My death row meal is give me every ounce of gluten possible. I want the wheatiest beer. I want the breadiest breads, all the pasta, and whatever happens the next day, it's going to be someone else's problem to clean up.
Yeah. As if the electric chair wouldn't do that to you enough. I mean, there's a lot of I think most of my death row meal would be Chicago stuff. I would get a pizza from Los Angeles, which is technically Evergreen Park, but it's across the street from Chicago, 95th in California. I would get a JP Graziano sub. That's for sure. I'd probably get a double doozy cookie from Sweet Mandy B's, which is 2 giant chocolate chip cookies with frosting but to get.
Oh.
So
it's like an ice cream sandwich with frosting?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I would get a chocolate donut from Wolf's Bakery on 95th and what is that, Pulaski? I mean, get some Fry the Coop. I'm gonna make it tough on the executioner. Yeah, it's gonna be a long day for you, pal.
I definitely would have a Spock and Napoli pizza. All Cheval's got a great burger. Even though it's overpriced, but it's a really good burger. And yeah, I mean, give me the tour of pizza. Like even if it's quote unquote bad pizza, I want every pizza from Chicago. Deep dish, thin crust, anything that's possible. Give me a slice of each one of them. I'll be the judge on my last day of what's the best pizza.
I'd also get have them buy me Five Guys. Then it would therefore bankrupt the entire operation. They wouldn't be able to afford the lethal injection anymore, and I get off scot-free.
Yeah, that's true. I would like one burger.
You got a large fry?
One
and
large
a burger?
fry.
That was $35.
A large fry from Five Guys is literally every potato they have in the store.
I think it is literally a garbage bag full of French fries. And they're good, but damn, not worth it. Unless they'd like to sponsor CHGO, in which, what a value.
I'll shill for Five Guys.
Wow. Five Guys? Is there anything better?
Yeah.
Just go back and crop this part out, Katie, for when the negotiations begin. Thank you.
Yes.
No one tape this. All right. Thank you. All right, what do we got next, Katie?
Young Dangle to God.
There he is. Not saying the Hawks are rebuilding a 2010s Dynasty 2.0.
I hope they are.
That'd be
that turned
great.
out pretty good.
But if you had to assign a player from the current rebuild who most represents big-name players from the Dynasty,
Okay.
how would that look in your opinion? For example, Bedard is Kane.
Yes.
Savoie is Shaw,
Yes.
etc. To me, the Savoie and Shaw one is.
Yeah.
But Savoie's not had an NHL shift yet. So as much as I love the guy, and that's my dude, I got to see him play in the NHL before I can call him the next Andrew Shaw. Because Andrew Shaw was a pretty damn good player in his time.
It was a special...
He's baby Marchand.
It was a special talent to play the way that he did.
Yeah.
And do it effectively. And teams... Yeah, those teams in 13 to 15 needed a player like that. Same as, 2010 needed a guy like Dave Bolin. Like, those teams needed players like that. Yeah, Bedard, Kane... I think that's the closest you're going to get. Who is Frank Nazar? He's not Patrick Sharp, because Sharp never played with the speed that he did, and I don't know if Nazar will be the kind of shooter that Sharp was.
No.
But as far as being popular,
He's a better Versteeg.
Being popular in town, I think Frank Nazar is going to give Patrick Sharp a run for his money.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's hard. It's not. There's not a
it's
ton
not
of parallels.
cut and dry. Yeah. Is Ethan Del Mastro or Nolan Allen, Brent Seabrook?
No,
Probably not.
I don't think either of those guys will be that good.
Is Renzel Duncan Keith? Probably not.
No.
But-
Could Renzel be Seabrook?
I don't think he'll ever be as physical.
He won't be as physical.
he
Maybe
was.
more offense though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only obvious one is Kane Bedard, and even that, I think Bedard and Kane play very different games.
They do.
They're
But the role
they're
they play.
mostly offense. They're high scoring, but
I don't think at their peaks their shots will be similar. Bedard tries to get to the middle more, especially playing center. That helps him do that. He's not a half ice along the boards distributor like Kane was, primarily at least. It's, as far as the role that they would play, I think Kane and Bedard are similar statures. But yeah, there's just not there's not a Taze. I know
Frondell is probably the closest to
I know
Taves.
Frondell is, but even then it's just probably not though.
Yeah, there's really not. No, it's impossible. You can't really do it.
Scouting and draft pundits said Frondell, Marion Hosa light, that's quite the compliment. I don't know. Could Vlasic be a Seabrook? Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Vlasic just is not yet. I don't know. He's not unwilling to be physical, but he just hasn't been a very punishing defenseman. I think a lot of the time, though, he's taxed with the toughest matchups, and he's trying to be. I think sometimes when you play overly physically, you take yourself out of plays. Mm-hmm. Seabrook was happy to do that because guess what? Duncan Keith's right behind him to handle it.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think we've seen the fully realized Alex Vlasic yet. What he when he is prime Alex Vlasic, which is probably 2-3 years away.
It could be this year.
It could certainly be
2024. I think this could be the year that we see okay, what is going to be, the floor hopefully of his prime.
Yeah. I don't know. I think let's let this team be its own thing. There's a reason. That the 2010s Hawks won 3 Stanley Cups because they were just very uniquely and perfectly built. Mm-hmm. They had complementary players all over the place. They had number 1 defenseman as their number 3 defenseman. Great drafting, good trading, subpar cap management, but they figured it out.
Yeah, they made it work.
I think it's kind of unfair to this new generation to try to, let's puzzle piece every little guy into a certain spot. It doesn't have to be that way.
And the style of player that they've got a lot of are a lot different than what those teams had.
Yeah. All right.
And you don't want to call anybody that version's Stahlberg. Even though they have a lot of guys who are fast, you just got to hope that they have better hands.
You'd hope. We got one here from Vince, who says, there's been talk and questions if Carter Hart would go to Edmonton. Do you think that Bowman would actually take him, especially with the idea that he learned from his mistake? Beside the Hawks, Bowman is the other person I can't see taking someone that may have a bad reputation. You know what? I don't even know anymore. It just seems like people don't care. And the people that do care, they speak out, they get silenced, and then it just goes away, and they deal with the bad press for a few days, and then they move on. So would it shock me if Stan Bowman brought Carter Hart to the Oilers? No. I think it's a matter of time till Carter Hart is back in the NHL. Nothing surprises me anymore.
Sure. It's a sad reality that you're in the NHL sphere here, and it's like a guy who, he's young, has some promise, but didn't light up the NHL when he was there, is like, oh yeah, he's the problem solver after coming off of this situation. Like, it's I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd like to stop fielding Carter Hart questions and just move on. Like, sure,
it's a matter of time.
If Stan Bowman and the Oilers want to bring him in and deal with that, that's on their choice.
Sure, it's not my call to make, but to
the question,
if you
sure.
think Carter Hart deserves to be back in hockey, I think you'll be pleased in short order.
Sure.
So there you go. I think that's all there is to say about it, really. Not change anybody's mind on this show. All right, what do we got next, Katie? Windy City sports fan. Here's something I still do not get no matter how much I watch hockey. You guys always say guys will be sent to Rockford to get used to the pro game, so why wouldn't you just put that guy straight in the NHL and say, well, here's the pro game, now learn. I understand guys need to develop more, but why not develop at the level you want to be at? I understand what you're saying, and I think from a hockey perspective, it's not totally wrong, but I think when we talk about learning the pro game, it's also learning the pro lifestyle. Living alone or with a roommate, managing your nutrition, managing your schedule.
You don't have your parents or
a billet remember,
family.
A lot of these guys are coming from billet families, from college, from whatever it may be, where a lot of the stuff is done for them, and they're living on their own for the first time.
Can't rent a car yet.
Like you got to sign up for a phone. You've got to all these sort of
your
things.
Phone bill.
Yes. All these sort of things are the skills that you can learn.
Extra phone charger with you
at the AHL level. And look, could those things be learned in the NHL? Of course. Conor Bard came to the NHL. He lives in an apartment nearby, and he's figuring it out for himself. But he's got help from teammates and coaches, and his family comes in from time to time. So,
well, and it's also to scale it down. There's a reason that there's varsity and JV and freshman level high school sports. It's just there's different levels to what you're ready for. If there was only varsity level sports, and I, as a freshman in high school, said I'm going to play football, and I was 5'2" and 85 pounds, and they said go play on varsity football and go figure it out, I'd get my head caved in. And there's a reason that a lot of these guys still need that time to kind of acclimate, and for a lot of the young guys, it's physical maturity and being able to handle. If you come from playing 2 or 3 years in college, right? You're playing 35 to 40 games a year, depending on how good your team is. If you jumped into the NHL, you're playing a double that length of the season with a completely different training schedule, completely different travel schedule. Like, there's a lot to kind of have to handle. Some guys, like you said, some guys can jump in at that young age and get acclimated to it, and they're fine. But some guys need that more of a slow rollout of, like, this is the pro game, this is what it is to be an adult and handle things, and media pressure and responsibilities can increase too. And it can be a lot for some guys, and some guys can handle it right away, but it's just different. So it's good that they, the way that Rockford is operating now under Kyle Davidson over the last couple of years, it's more for that development ground.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. We are back tomorrow at 2. If we did not get to your question, we will do our best to get to it later in the week. Tomorrow at 2, we're going to have Jamie Faulkner in studio. Wednesday, we're talking to Chris Peters, who is at the World Junior Summer Showcase, so he'll have info on all the Blackhawks prospects that participated. And we're trying for some more fun guests later in the week. So make sure you are have those notifications on your YouTube so you know when we go live, or just set a reminder in your phone. 2:00 Monday through Friday. We're on. Come join us and become a diehard. ALLCHGO.com.
Preemptively laying down the law in the chat.
Yes. ALLCHGO.com/join. If we have to mute the chat or minimize the chat for Jamie Faulkner tomorrow, it will irritate me.
I hope not, but
Yes. Let's be normal people.
Yeah.
Fair?
Agreed, yes.
All right.
That's for tomorrow and beyond.
Yes.
Be a normal person.
All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow at 2 right here on CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.